In January, the Economic Outlook and Revenue Assessment Committee met to come up with a projection for the Idaho revenue. An estimate of $6.4 billion was reached for fiscal year 2026. An update released this month shows projections closer to $5.5 billion. So, just how are these numbers reached? I spoke to legislators on the committee to learn more. The EORAC is tasked with estimating how much money the state will bring in through general revenues, such as portions of sales and income taxes, giving the legislature an idea of how much money they have to spend throughout the session.
And we sit down, we hear from economists, we hear from our universities, we hear from the Associated Taxpayers of Idaho.
Members then submit individual projections and determine the midpoint.
Generally speaking, I would say everyone was pretty optimistic about a continuation of the growth that we'd seen.
An initial recommendation from the committee came out to about $6.25 billion.
And that was higher than I thought. That was higher than many of the committee members thought.
That recommendation goes to determining the overall budget for the session. Usually a full projection is reached within the first week of the session, but it took 2 months for a final projection to be made.
So we had already committed more than $10 billion, more than 2/3 of the budget had been committed prior to the legislature ever setting a cap.
The committee also hears from the governor's office, who provides his own recommendation.
This year, we chose to go ahead and accept the governor's recommendation, which was $6,407,000.
Even higher than the initial proposal. Provisions passed this year include school choice vouchers, lowering property taxes and income taxes, leading to spending money they didn't have.
And so we find ourselves in this position where we don't have the revenue.
Klaus says the committee starts their projections by looking at remaining funds from the previous year.
So the very first number that we started with came in $100 million below what we expected to start with.
And Woodward believes they overestimated and overspent.
And so I thought that 2, 3, or 4 years down the road, we might have a problem. It turned out it was only about 3 months down the road.
As these are still projections, there's no telling exactly what will happen, but as it stands now, the budget remains unbalanced. Idaho's constitution requires a balanced budget. So once the legislators come back into session in January, there are a few options. They could dip into the state's budget stabilization fund to make the balance equal, or they could roll back on some of the tax cuts that they instituted this last session, or more clawbacks for agencies could be instituted. In Boise, I'm Joel Hiroma reporting.